Hi everyone, Stu Bray here. As soon as I posted that other video of my jukebox, it started repeating the same record over and over and over again. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to get in and repair the issue, as well as showing everyone how to sort of take this type of jukebox apart. So I need to get into the selection accumulator underneath the record carousel. Alright, so Americana 3700, 1973, I would expect. And I'm just gonna show you how to take it apart, because I would have appreciated the same when I started going. As far as I know, many jukeboxes are like this one. 3700 is this one model, 3800, the Statesman, almost anything from 1970 to 75. Statesman, Zodiac, Americana, and there's probably one or two more in there. Alright, so I ran some LEDs, so I'm going to disconnect those. So what I've done is to pick a selection and turn the power off while that selection is playing, and then the record arm is out of the way, and you can focus on pulling this as the magazine, which is what I have to do. I have to get underneath from what I think, the selection cancellation pin got caught up on one of the carousel pins, and it got bent. And as a result, it's playing the same record over and over and over. So you can remove the whole lower panel, pull the latches on either end. There may be a bolted connection as well. The plate's taken off of this one on this side. It still exists over here, but I have no bolt for it and I don't use it. And then there should be some chains that basically protect the wiring. In essence, on this side here, over here, you've got the tie-in of your speaker wiring. So there's your speaker, and your lights used to run through here. I've taken it out because I ran LEDs in lieu of those. Alright, so you remove both your lighting and your speaker cables, and you're all but detached except for the emergency chains. So now we're pretty much detached. Alright, now that the emergency cables are detached, it's basically separated except for the base hinges. Just lift it up a little bit, wiggle it out, and your door is loose. Alright, so I really need to get in under here, but I'm going to show you a feature before I get to that. And that's the jack stand of this thing. So there's two wing nuts on either end of the tray table. If you remove those, one's just over the speaker wire connection and the other one's opposite side. Take those out. And you can slide this whole table forward gotta shimmy it up over here a bit. And then what you can do, very carefully, because I got a record on there, maybe I'm gonna switch that record out. Alright, sorry for the angle, but this is the best way to show you. So I've pulled the carousel and turntable tray out. And there's a really great feature on these units. A pair of jack stands that slide out for you. It's got a placement spot. And now you can get to the underside of this bad boy. Okay, so as mentioned, this is the unit that I need to get at. You can see two L-shaped pins just up here and there. This one here, which is my even side. That guy right there. Solenoid functions this thing and it kicks down the pins. You can even see that pin right there that the song was last on is kinked to the side a little bit because this thing got hung up and bent out of shape. So it was in turn not canceling the pin here, not canceling that pin, and as such just kept playing the song over and over. So I need to get in there and make sure that it's flat and square and that it's hitting those pins all the way around, or I'm gonna be listening to the same song. Alright, so now that I've shown you the jack stand feature and exactly what I'm trying to get at, I need to let this down to get at it. Remove the two jacks. Little fitting. And lower her back down. Okay, so now we're going to remove the carousel. As mentioned earlier, I hit play on a record. It's down, arm is out of the way, so I'm clear to remove that. It is held together with a clip around that. Basically it's the column shaft, the steel shaft that goes right through the deck and into the center of the selection accumulator, which is that entire assembly, including all the pins and springs. So we got to pop that off, and then you can basically lift the carousel off. It should be fairly loose. There is, see that dark arm underneath the carousel there? Basically that's what helps drive and turn the thing. It's got a bolt that sticks up at the end and guides the carousel around. So when putting it back, you're gonna have to hit that on center and get that one in place. It's a little difficult with the thing loaded, but I'm not gonna unload it. It takes too much time. All right, so simply need to get clip off. I don't want it to go flying away on me either. Oh, so it does. Like I say, it ain't light. So I would, oh yeah, when taking this thing out, there's also the latch pin that basically locks the carousel in place when this thing is cycling. It'll latch in. So you've got to manually pull that out and lift the carousel, and out she comes. So like I say, underneath that carousel, there is a little latch, a little slot. And that slot needs to match up. Needs to match up to that pin. Right there. So now what I have to do, now what I will have to do is to get a hole punch, pin punch. So just buying a kit for that. You start using things that aren't made for it and you mash it up and it'll be impossible to put back in afterwards. So I'm gonna go get that stuff. Oh yeah, and as you remember, the clip went flying when I took it off. If I had a second hand, I could have stopped that from happening, but there it is. So we'll put that. Okay, so zoomed in here is the drive knife, let's call it, that recognizes where the carousel is. I need to punch the pin out of here. You can see it there. I'm using a 1/8 inch punch. You're not gonna see it, but it's a 1/8 inch punch. And I'm just gonna tap it out. All right, so just got it started. It's a bit of a fiddle, these things. Okay, so we've dropped it through. I'll show you the selection accumulator in a second. Here, I just left a one of my, I think it's a 1/4 inch or something bolt on my ratchet, and I've dropped it inside. Hopefully that holds those bearings in place, and I'm gonna put a picture up right here that shows what I'm talking about regarding those bearings. Alright, here's the selection accumulator. This is the mechanical memory of the jukebox. When you call a record, this lower unit has magnets on either side. What happens is it rotates. When it senses it's at the location of the record you've called up, it sets a pulse out. And what that does is it pulls the string. Zoom in here. And what would happen here is when it swiped by and made the connection with the fact that you've made a selection, boom, it pops. And then what happens is this unit right here is your cancellation unit. And one of these things bent up on me yesterday, and what it would do is it would get told to function, drop down, and what that would do is, in essence, the same as this, and reset it so it doesn't keep playing the same song over and over and over. And you probably, you know, if you're having a problem like that with your jukebox, this is probably the first culprit, is that these things aren't getting canceled out, so it just keeps choosing the same song. So it could be here is the cancellation. Okay, here's an example again. Is you can see right here, moving now. That is the cancellation. This is the A side cancellation. This other one is the B side cancellation. I found my A side cancellation bent and just torqued out of whack, and it wasn't canceling my records and pushing these things back down after the song had played. So now I'm gonna lift this thing out. It just sits in the bottom there, and it's just basically held in place by that. It's supported from the deck above. So what I need to do is I need to get in and under there and make sure that this bad boy is nice and straight and flat and moving easily, and that so that when it's triggered, this plunger goes down easily. Okay, so I've got that part out of it. It's basically it's the cancellation assembly. It does more than that, but at the end here, these two posts are the two cancellations for the A side and your B side. Like I said, my A side got bent up, so I am just gonna have a really good look at it. I think it looks a little lower. If you see that, you know, at the bottom of the tooth. Let's see if I do this. There you go. So the lower one here, that thing right there, it looks like the tooth is a little lower than the other one. So I gotta try to fix the L above. It looks like it may have, the 90-degree angle may have become a little more obtuse, bigger of an angle, whatever. So I'm just gonna check that it's all lined up right, and then hopefully it continues to cancel properly. Okay, so here it is. In order to pop the vertical plunging piece off, I need to remove that little clip right there, and then super carefully, hopefully, it slides out, and hopefully nothing else will come with it. So it looks to me as though there's a spring and a cap, and also be conscious of this collar that I think you should pull up and out first, and then hopefully I can pop that piece out, and there it is. And you can see that it's all bent up. I wonder if it really wants to be, oops. You can see that it's a little kinked, and I was concerned that this was lower than it needed to be, and by kinking that back, I think I'll be able to get that tooth to match the other one. I'm just gonna try and clamp this thing to flatten it, because it seems like it got a little bent. Just needs to move smoothly in that passage. So it needs to be smooth and square to do that. Pretty flat now. Still a little kinked, but I'd be a little leery to go any more. I can't imagine that it messed it up that bad, but it very well could have. So I'm gonna see how this looks. Alright, she's back together again. Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna have a look at how well and easily. So it still looks like it's off a little. I think maybe I will have to try. Yeah. I'll have to try to see if I can straighten that. What you can see is that this guy over here is nice and flat and flush across the top here. So you can see the teeth. There's still that one on the right of your screen is lower, and you can see it doesn't sit as flush at the top edge right underneath there. So I need to get that straightened out. Well, there you have it, people. Not a match. So that's probably what's got me into trouble, is that sucker is not straight. So this is the A side. This is the one I was having problem with. And that's my B side. And as you can see, she's bent. And that's exactly what I suspected from what I saw. It was completely twisted and bent. So it's going to be hopefully a very not easy process of trying to finagle this thing back vertical. I do not want to break it, or I am in deep trouble. Okay, after a lot of prying, and I think I got her pretty straight. Obviously you can see the A side that got bent up, and it's all scratched up now because I was using the pliers on it, but I think they're pretty straight. So I'm going to try to pop these things back in and see how smooth they move. So I'm going to start with the B side, and that is the good pin. They both slope in towards each other. So I will put the B back in. We will put its rod in, the spring on, the cap on, and the clip through. Bit of a fiddle, actually. Use this and see if we can lift up a little bit. Get on there, dude. Get on. It wasn't easy to get the B side off, so let's see it being a breeze to get it out. I think we got it. Okay. She bounces back pretty good. That's what I'm trying to emulate with the A side. So let's put that one back together. Shoes in. Collar on. Spring. Cap. Cap. Okay. If we were floating. Well, it's not too bad. I think that should work. Let's see how the teeth line up on the bottom. I'd have to come forward a bit, which may have been our problem as well. But there needs to be a gap between those two teeth because the ace side pins, the contact point for these are actually in different locations. So I don't mind that. I think that looks pretty good, and I'm going to go with it. So everything you've seen in reverse.